Wanted to start by sharing my own coming out story. Like so many in the LGBTQ community, coming out wasn't an easy thing to do. My family was traditional and conservative. Being gay in my family wasn't something that you mentioned out loud or celebrated. But my family, like many other families, grew to accept who I was. They saw that who I loved didn't change who I was as a person. It didn't change the things I like to do, and it didn't change the goals I had for my life.
Hi everyone, it's Kamala Harris. Listen, each day we are seeing our rights and freedoms under attack, including the right of everyone to be who they are, love who they love, openly and with pride. So as we fight back against these attacks, let's all remember, no one is alone. We are all in this together, and your vote is your power. So please make sure your voice is heard this November and register to vote at vote.gov.
And I want to backtrack to a comment you made earlier about the casting couch. So that's true? Like, because I always heard this rumor that she slept her way to the top. That's true?
She did. She's a old hoe. She's 60 years old. Look, if you want to find out about it, go online to the LA Times morgue. They used to have it so for a fee you could get them to pull articles. They've been reporting on her for 30 some years. She's in her 20s, and Willie Brown took her up as his mistress. There was a medical firm that dealt with San Francisco. He got her a 15-hour-a-week part-time job there, which she never showed up to, according to the Times, but they paid her $72,000 a year for 15 hours a week. And understand, she's in her 20s, which is 30-some years ago. That's big money now. So he got her promoted up so she did 20 hours a week. Times reported she never showed up, but she got 120 grand a year. So he bought her a 750i BMW, which was the top of the line at the time. So he set her up with all of the connections to get her into politics. The Times did a thing about this thing she had allegedly with an NBA player to get a job with a big law firm, and then a thing they did on her with the assistant director for the district attorney's office to get on with them, and then Montel Williams, and then back to Willie Brown, and then the rest of the whole thing, and she winds up with a Hollywood lawyer type not long before she runs for senator.
to vote for him.
Megan Thee Stallion kicked off Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign event in Atlanta, getting the crowd hyped.
We're about to make history with the first female president. Hottie for Harris. Hi.
She even shared some backstage fun with the VP.
What do you have to say to the American people?
We are not going back.
But she wasn't the only one getting the crowd hyped. They showed off their excitement singing along to Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Another musician who showed up for Kamala,
if y'all don't know me, I go by the name of Quavo.
Quavo, who lost his nephew and Migos partner Takeoff to gun violence, helped introduce Harris to the crowd of 10,000 people.
And you can't understand the struggles of gun violence if you're not in the field or in the heart of it. So one thing I learned about working with Vice President Harris is she always stand on business.
And then it came time for the VP to address the crowd.
Please give it up for Quavo. And Megan.
She even fit a mention of the Atlanta native into her speech.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it.
Part of your story is the story of a lot of women, and the fact that you're able to help frame and connect that dot from your own personal experience, I think has been really effective in translating up for folks exactly what is at stake here. It's not just the constitutional idea of Roe. It is the fundamental idea of choice that you have as an individual, which a lot of folks tend to forget, particularly in the Christian space, that's the one thing that God gave all of us, right? It's that thing called free will. And so when you translate that into the political space, it becomes complicated. And so it's important that you have these voices that sort of tell their story and frame that. I know it's been hard for you in a lot of ways because you're put in the spotlight, as you said. This is, as Simone said, it wasn't on your bingo card.
You said, I'm speaking out because women and girls need to have options. That is something that I've continuously heard from you over the course of these last couple of months. I guess in the time we have left with you, what do you hear from folks who see you, who may have come across you on social media or have seen any of the ads that you've been in, and who come up to you and say, why do you feel like you need to talk about this now? What do you say to people about just telling your story? Because I'm struck by the fact you said it's not political, because you're right. This is something that, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, this affects all people across our country.
On December 10th, 1939, in a reply letter to Dr. C.J. Gamble, written and sent by Margaret Sanger herself, she discusses how it would be worthwhile for his federation to employ a full-time Negro physician because, in her experience, while the colored Negroes have great respect for white doctors, They get closer to their own members and more or less lay their cards on the table, which means their ignorance, superstitions, and doubts. Settle down, Margaret. This isn't a KKK meeting. She says they do not do this with the white people, and if we can train the Negro doctor at the clinic, meaning in birth control methods, abortion and sterilization techniques, he can go among the black communities with enthusiasm and with knowledge, which I believe will have far-reaching results among the colored people, meaning depopulation. His success will depend on his personality and his training by us. She goes on to say that the black religious minister's work is also important, and also he should be trained like the Negro physician, perhaps by the Federation, as to our ideals and the goal that we hope to reach, because we do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious